Jonas Brothers, greetings from your hometown tour. Playing at Casey's Center October 5th. Get tickets now at HighVTix.com.
What's the guarantee? Eric?
Mike, time to make history. Players in Circa Million make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts.
Circa Survivor entries choose one team each week with no point spread. The last one standing wins it all.
We have $21 million on the line. Are you in? Visit circasports.com for details.
What is up? This is Bigger Than 12 in the Channel Seed Studios. I am Jake Brend, joined by Derek Duke in Texas. Happy Big 12 preview show.
It's that time of the year. I can't believe it's here. It felt like just yesterday we were recording our first episode for last season's preview, and we're already in season 2 underway. One more show left. Then after this, it's going to be kickoff in Ireland. Jake, are your bags packed already?
No. I'll start packing Sunday night.
You're one of the late packers? I do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not checking a bag. We have laundry there. I'm going to bring like probably 5 sets of clothes, do laundry halfway through, and call it good.
There you go. You're not one of those guys that like turns their underwear inside out to wear them again for the second time?
No. I do overpack, but...
Oh, God. You're the worst already.
What?
My wife is the biggest overpacker I know.
You never know.
We go somewhere for 2 days. I think it's a suitcase for each day.
Well, so the thing is, I've got to bring my Cyclone Fanatic camera over there. It's about probably that big. So I got to fit that in my carry-on with my clothes, which it works out anyways, because the clothes act as padding for it, so we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, next time you'll hear from us after this show, if all goes according to plan, I'll be doing the show from the Philadelphia airport. Knock on wood.
Then I'll be here. I don't know which worse, the Philadelphia airport or here.
Probably the Philadelphia airport.
Yeah, probably so.
You said you went back and listened to our Big 12 preview show last week, right?
Actually, I did not.
You didn't?
I didn't. I said I was going to, so I am a
I was
liar.
looking forward to a full review.
Well, there was probably a lot of mistakes, I can imagine, but I did not have time to go back and watch that one.
I know it was not our best work. Obviously,
it was our first show.
It was our first show. It was probably the third time we'd ever talked together on between the phone and the podcast. I was getting all caught up on other Big 12 teams. This year's going to be so much better. So much better. I feel like I've got a pulse on every program in the league right now heading into this season. That obviously doesn't mean a ton when it comes to predicting things right, but I think I've got a good pulse on where each team sits.
Just like where we had a good pulse on Arizona State last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Last year I just didn't have any clue. I was playing a little bit of catch up. We didn't really know what we were going to do until like 3 days before that show.
That's
so we
true.
were just, but we've got such a good year of Bigger Than 12 in store for you guys. I can't wait to tell you what this season's going to look like. Can't wait to preview today. And I mentioned having a good pulse on the league. I think I do have a good pulse on the league, but I know I don't have as good of a pulse on the league as Tim Hawkins and WealthCharter have on the economy and the stock market. There's a bunch of laws changing right now with 401ks and taxes, stuff that is way above my head, and it is right in the ballpark for Tim Hawkins and his team over at WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. They are the people that should be taking care of your finances, taking care of your 401k, and they will set you up for the future and help simplify your wealth. Go support WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. Just Google WealthCharter Retirement Planning, or you can schedule an appointment at their Ankeny office. So today on our show, we're going to go over both of our Big 12 preseason polls, 1 through 16. I think they've changed a little bit since Randy Peterson's column on Iowa Everywhere. At least mine has.
Yep.
We're also going to do some superlatives: Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. We might even, I don't know, if we think of something on the fly, we might throw in a couple others while we're there. We'll close out with our final Whiskey River draft of the summer, and we're going to do Big 12 quarterbacks, which I think is fitting heading into the season. But before we do any of that, we're just going to do a quick reaction to the AP poll. Got released on Monday. 2 guys hit it pretty well today. 4 Big 12 teams ranked. Arizona State the highest at 11, followed by K-State at 17, and then Iowa State and Texas Tech round out the top 25 at 22 and 23. Also notable that the 3 teams outside the top 25 are all Big 12 schools. BYU, Utah, Baylor are 26, 27, 28. Derek, your initial thoughts when you saw the AP poll?
I mean, personally, I wasn't really shocked at the list here. For the Big 12, Arizona State, I believe, is in the same exact spot as they were in the coaches poll. Kansas State is in the top 20, which is a little bit different, which I believe is right. I think Kansas State deserves to be in the top 20. Then you have Iowa State, Texas Tech rounding out the top 25 as well. I agree with all those. The one big difference that we both probably noticed from the coaches poll and this AP poll is BYU. The coaches poll did have BYU in it in the top 25. This poll does not, and I actually agree with the AP voters here. I don't think BYU deserves to be in the top 25, and I've said this also before. I don't think either one of us has BYU finishing in the top 8 of the conference this year, so they do not belong. I mean, other than that, you look at, 10 SEC teams made the top 25, which, of course, way too many, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, did you know that now that SEC teams are going to play many top 25 games?
Because they just keep playing each other. That's all they want to play is each other. So that's what I mean. They can keep losing these games, remain in the top 25 all season long, and it's going to look like their strength of schedule is going to just continue to beef up and grow as the season goes on. One thing I will note here regarding the ACC, you do have 2 ACC schools ahead of Arizona State, but overall, when you look at the top 25, the Big 12 actually does have more teams in the top 25 than the ACC, so I do like that as well.
I think it's fair. Personally, I think I would have Iowa State based on what they have coming back over schools like Oklahoma and Indiana and even Texas A&M, but at this point, when you're a Big 12 school, it does nothing. You're just yelling into a void. Oklahoma, I think that they had a pretty bad year last year luck-wise, and they bring in a high-level quarterback who might be in a bit of hot water. We'll see how that plays out. But I just think when you have a guy like Rocco Becht, you should maybe get a little more love, but I'm not going to. The fact that I'm already talking about the AP poll is giving it more attention than it deserves.
You're desperate for football, like we all are.
Oh, so desperate for football. I cannot wait to get there. Nothing in the top 10 really stuck out to me because it's all the teams that you'd always expect in the top 10.
It's a stupid. I've said this. It's a stupid poll that is filled with regional beat writers who watch far less college football than the average fan are. And they're running the show here. They probably watch 2 to 3 games per week because they're busy covering their own team. So I mean, and these are the opinions that are going to influence the playoff committee when those first rankings come out, which is completely stupid. But I don't want to go down that road again. But what it is I wish we would just get rid of the AP poll altogether. I think it would just be better for college football.
I'd love to talk about this, but I think we've done it before. And honestly, I'm so excited to get into our preseason polls. The only preseason polls that matter are the ones you see here on Bigger Than 12. So I think Aiden has made 2 separate graphics. which one do we want to start with? Mine or yours?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. We'll pull up my preseason poll. And there you go. I have Kansas State winning the league over Utah in the Big 12 championship. I have Arizona State, Iowa State, and Baylor rounding up the top 5. TCU, Tech, Kansas, Houston, and then a surprise team in the top 10 with West Virginia. And then it ends with Colorado, BYU, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Arizona, and UCF. Derek, what jumps off the page at my preseason poll?
How about Utah making the Big 12 title game? That to me, you're riding high on Devin Dampier at quarterback.
I don't know how much it comes down to Dampier. I know that kind of goes against what we talked about. I just think their defense is going to be near the level it was last year, or right around that exact same level. They've got the best offensive line in the conference probably. And I think Dampier, he's not going to be one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the league, but he'll probably be a top 10 quarterback. And that will be how big of an upgrade over Cam Rising? 5 times better? 10 times better? And I think that will help their close games problem. They get the majority of their toughest games at home. They get Texas Tech, Arizona State, and K-State all at what I think is probably the toughest place to play in the conference, if not a top 3 toughest place to play in the conference. And I'm just buying Kyle Whittingham's track record to bounce back from a miserable, embarrassing first year in the conference.
That's a big bounce back. When I look at your poll, I see 4 teams that really stick out to me. One, I just mentioned Utah making the Big 12 title game. That's pretty shocking to me. I think the other one, which probably everybody's going to look at here, Texas Tech at 7. That is way down there for Tech. I mean, I don't have a problem with some of the teams you put ahead of them. I think they're probably just as deserving to be up there. However, Texas Tech finishing towards the middle of the pack in the Big 12, that's pretty shocking to me considering what they bring back and what they were able to add overall. And then, I don't know. I know you've been jumping off the Texas Tech bandwagon since media days. So
part of this comes down to what I did. Our friend of the program, Emred, who runs pretty much every standings generator now in college sports. It is the best website, emred.com, if you want to figure out standings and tiebreakers and blah. So I filled out game by game my prediction for the conference season. I had Texas Tech going 6-3. And 6-3 gets you all the way down. In the way that I filled it out, gets you all the way down to 7. So they were technically, I think they were tied with Baylor and TCU in my poll. And they just ended up, so they easily could have been 5th. And the same thing for the top 4. I had K-State, Utah, Arizona State, and Iowa State all tied at 7-2. But the way the tiebreakers broke, and I'm predicting Kansas State to win in Ireland over Iowa State, and that is what essentially propels those teams into the top 2. So you can look at the poll and say, oh my gosh, you'd think they're the 7th best team. Maybe, but I also think Tech has a hard schedule, and I still have question marks with Baron Morton stacking up against some of the other top quarterbacks in the league.
That's fair. I can agree with the Baron Morton assessment. I just don't know. I think their team around him is probably better than Baylor, TCU, and probably Iowa State, and I think Utah personally. But I look at that. So you have Texas Tech at 7.
Yep.
There's 2 more that really stick out to me. West Virginia at 10. That is very high on Rich Rod, and that is a team that we discussed, last week or the week before. They bring back nothing outside of Nico at quarterback. And that was, he was shaky at
Jaheim
best.
White. Jaheim White at running back.
Well,
preseason first team all Big 12. Jaheim White.
I think it's safe to say he's going to have a down year with that offensive line that's blocking in front of him.
My case for West Virginia, Morgantown is never an easy place to play. Rich Rod, I think of all of the new coaches, or really of the Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Arizona, UCF, I see Rich Rod having the most success with bringing together a team filled with transfers in year 1. There's a lot of guys that he's bringing from his old school, Jacksonville State, moving up a level. We've seen coaches like Curt Cignetti have success with that at Indiana. And that's my case for West Virginia. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I have a hard time looking at Phil Steele's projected standings or the kind of the consensus standings and thinking that it's going to go exactly as planned. And if I have to pick one team that I think is going to maybe jump up and not cause problems, but might be able to pull off an upset or two, I'm picking West Virginia to go from their projected spot of 15th to 10th.
I mean, I like what you're saying. I like that. I like your Houston pick at 9. I really like that pick. I think that's a sneaky good pick because of what they bring back to the table. Connor Wegman at quarterback, who I think a lot of people in the Big 12 just aren't familiar with his game, but he could be and that guy could jump in, this season and be a top 5 quarterback in the Big 12. That would not shock me one bit. But West Virginia, a little high for my taste there. The other one, I would say Cincinnati at 13. I feel like that is pretty low for a team that brings back a lot. Brendan Sorsby at quarterback, they were able to add some nice pieces to the transfer portal. Defensively, I don't think they were that bad. So I think Cincinnati actually might be a team that would be on the step up, but you see them taking another step back.
My thing with Cincinnati has more to do with who their coach is and less their personnel. As far as personnel goes, they lost almost all of their secondary. From a defense that was good, not great. The good news, they do bring back the Godfather, Dante Corleone. But I do worry about the back end of that defense. I like Brendan Sorsby. I honestly maybe like Brendan Sorsby a little more than most. We might see that later in our Big 12 quarterbacks draft. But I do not like at all what they have on the outside. They brought in some transfers, some reinforcements to hopefully improve those skill positions, but I'm not buying it until I see it, and I'm also not buying Scott Satterfield as a Power 5 coach until I see it. They've got a pretty tough road schedule with KU, Utah, TCU. They get UCF and Arizona at home, but other than that, they don't have a ton of gimmies, and I'm just not buying the Bearcats. And again, this could be a situation where it could be tied with Colorado, BYU in that realm. I definitely have them separated 1 or 2 tiers above the Oklahoma States, the Arizonas, and the UCFs of the world.
That's fair. And I think Scott Satterfield, there's a chance he could be fired by the end of the season. That is a very real possibility. Exactly. So I wouldn't count that out. However, I don't think they're going to take a step back. But that's more of a bet against Satterfield than a bet against Sorsby in my eyes. That's fair.
All right.
Other than that, I mean, that would be my 4. Utah at 2 for you, Texas Tech at 7, West Virginia at 10, Cincinnati at 13. I think those were the 4 where kind of jumped off the page to me there.
And don't get me wrong. I like being right. Makes you feel good. That's kind of our job, is to hopefully be right. But I will happily accept Utah finishing 16th again. I want to put that on the record. Even if they make me look like a fool, even if I'm completely wrong, I will be perfectly fine if they equal what they did last year.
Yeah, until their fans burn down our show. Yeah.
Good luck. Come and get us. All right, let's see your poll. All right, Arizona State repeating as champs. Wow, and you've got West Virginia dead last.
I do.
You are high on Scott Frost. Would you look at that?
I put him at 15th.
You are high on Scott Frost. Do you know who their defensive coordinator is?
I do. It's Alex Grinch, isn't it?
Yeah, either their head coach or defensive coordinator is going to be dead by the end of the season.
Hey, they could luck into winning a game or two. That's not another realm of possibilities.
If you had to rate, if you're going like passing offense 1 through 100, defense 1 through 100, linebackers 1. If you put accountability 0 through 100, they're going -10 between Scott Frost and Alex Grinch. But sorry, this is not about UCF. This is about your poll.
I have them at 15th. I don't.
You are high on them though.
Okay, I'm high on them. Does anything? I can read it out for the people at home. So
go ahead.
I got Arizona State at 1, Kansas State at 2, Texas Tech at 3, Baylor at 4. Iowa State at 5, TCU at 6, Utah at 7, Kansas at 8, Colorado at 9, Cincinnati at 10, 11 at BYU, Houston at 12, Arizona 13th, Oklahoma State 14th, and then we talked about UCF 15th, and then last I have the Mountaineers at 16th. What jumps out? What jumps out to you?
Well, I think just having Arizona State go back-to-back jumps off at me. I know that when you look at the AP poll, the coaches poll, they are the highest ranked team coming into the season, and they're thought from the outside as the champ. I do think it would be an incredible accomplishment if they were able to go back-to-back. K-State going to Arlington, we both agree on that. You put Texas Tech where I think most people do. Same with we're probably both a little bit higher on Baylor than most. We both have Iowa State in kind of the similar spot. So really our top 7 is about the same outside of flipping Utah. And Texas Tech.
Yeah, we literally flipped Utah and Texas Tech.
And I think your argument against Utah is just dampier coming up from the Mountain West to the Big 12 in a league that is full of really, really good quarterbacks, and I'm guessing you don't stack him up against that, and I see that argument.
He's going to have to throw the football, and he did not. That's something that his athleticism is off the charts. It's incredible. He can run the football. There's no question about it. But when they're behind the chains and they need a third down with his arm, I don't see that happening. I think Utah is going to struggle offensively. They're bringing an entire new system offensively, so I think there's going to be a little bit of growing pains. Like, I think they're going to be better than what they were last year. Is that good enough to push them up into the Big 12 title game? I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think the biggest takeaway for both of us is that Kansas State is in the Big 12 championship game. I don't know how many people have that, but I think that for us to both have them at least playing for a Big 12 title is pretty good. Baylor, you mentioned Baylor at 4. We're both very high on Baylor. I think anybody in the know in this conference is well aware of what Baylor has returning. We know how good Sawyer Robinson is as a quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in this conference. I think people outside of the Big 12, maybe they don't realize that, or they just simply have not watched Baylor. Or they wrote Dave Aranda off like we did kind of last year towards the beginning of the year, and don't realize they won 6 straight in the regular season.
Yep.
So they are a team to really, really watch out for. I think, other than that, I think our polls are pretty similar outside of maybe West Virginia getting flipped and Cincinnati. But other than that, I don't think our polls are that different. I think the biggest one is going to be where Utah is in the rankings.
You are a bit higher on Colorado than me. Do you envision this Colorado season being, I don't know, a success? Is that the right word?
If I flipped, I had a hard time flipping Cincinnati and Colorado. The schedules, when I was doing the little pick'em thing, I think the scheduling just worked out better for Colorado than it did Cincinnati. So if Cincinnati finished 9th and Colorado finished 10th, I wouldn't be surprised. If Colorado finished anywhere from 8 to 12, I wouldn't be shocked.
So if we look at both of our polls, is there a specific team that we're both low on that would result in a firing? If we just jump back and forth, so we both have TCU at 6.
It's got to be Arizona.
That's not as juicy.
We're both pretty low on Arizona. They're both in our bottom 4.
We both have TCU at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Is Sonny Dykes back in Fort Worth in 2026?
Yes.
If TCU finishes 6th in the conference this year?
I think so, because I think their conference record is still going to be – it's a winning conference record. He's got a decent non-conference schedule. I think they have to play SMU and North Carolina. That North Carolina game is very winnable. SMU toss-up, I don't think SMU is as good as they were a year ago. So that's another game they could win. If they get a strong start to the non-conference, I think TCU could win 8 or 9 games. So I think he's back.
Okay. And then, I think we both have Oklahoma State finishing in the bottom 3. I think that's a given. If they're in the bottom 3, Gundy's probably retiring or forcefully retiring.
That could be the one team that surprises some people, though. Like if you're talking about that range in the bottom feeders of who could surprise you, I think Oklahoma State would be mine. I didn't pick it like that, but I could see Oklahoma State jumping out of nowhere because I've said before, Mike Gundy, in those years where you don't think he has a chance in hell, those are the years where he proves everybody wrong and makes it a little bit of a run. So maybe this is the bounce back year for Oklahoma State.
Well, that's fun stuff. If you disagree strongly or agree strongly with either of us, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're taking in our content here at Bigger Than 12 on Iowa Everywhere in the Channel Seed Studios. I'd like to thank a couple more of our sponsors. Freedom Tire. They're continuing their giveaway for 4 free tires. You can go to iowaeverywhere.com and enter that contest. Congrats to Mr. Slick from Cumming on winning our first set of tires. Also, when you enter and if you win, you get to choose a charity or a cause of your choice to also donate tires to. Great stuff going on at Freedom Tire. Also, they as good as they're at the giveaways, they're also pretty dang good at taking care of your car. Locations in Ames, Altoona, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. Go get your oil changed, your tires rotated before road trip season is here for college football because we are that close. We'd also like to thank Carbless. I enjoyed a few Carbless over the weekend. Had one while grilling. It's just such a good, refreshing, hot weather drink. It's a premium crafted vodka cocktail. I was enjoying the cranberry ones. It literally tastes like a vodka cranberry, but almost better. I don't know how to explain it. It's less tart than a cranberry. Go pick up your favorite flavors of Carbless or get the variety pack at your local liquor store, gas station, or grocery store. Thanks to Carbless for supporting Iowa Everywhere, and they're also the presenting sponsor of Overthinking. Check out Overthinking. Great show on our network. Let's do some awards. Who do you have winning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year?
Aiden, throw him up.
Whoa!
Avery Johnson, Kansas State quarterback.
Whoa!
This one was really tough for me, and clearly I think it's safe to say this was more of a projection pick than anything else. Don't get me wrong, Sam Levitt, Sawyer Robinson, Rocco Beck, Jalen Daniels, Josh Hoover, all in the mix for this award. I wouldn't be shocked if any of those guys that I just mentioned win this award. However, the ceiling that Avery Johnson has as a quarterback is higher than anyone I just mentioned. Like, there's a reason why people were so high on him coming in. He's got the arm talent. The athleticism is off the charts. And it wasn't that long ago where he made that debut against Texas Tech and ran all over them. I think he ran for, 5 touchdowns in that game? So it's just a matter of putting it all together, eliminating those mental errors, not throwing that costly interception in the game. We've seen flashes of his greatness last season, but that's the problem. They were just flashes. Like, he's got a full year under his belt now. I expect him to take another step forward this season. And as we both have in our preseason polls here, we both have Kansas State playing for a Big 12 championship.
Wow. I did not expect that. That is bold. Nothing against Avery. I think that more says the depth of the quarterbacks and caliber of players in the conference. For Avery, I'm really interested to see how much they run him this year, because they did not run him last year as much as you'd expect or as much as you'd think they should. And I don't know if that's because they don't trust whoever they have as the backup quarterback, and they were almost playing damage control, trying to not get him hurt. But if they do turn him into more of a runner and get him back to the 1,000-yard pace, as opposed to, I think he ran for about 600 last year, I could easily see this playing out. But a lot, I would say the entire Kansas State season rides in that guy's hands. And I don't know how many other teams you can say about that. I think Texas Tech can survive an off game or two from Baron Morton. I think even Iowa State has proven that they can survive an off game of Rocco Becht. But Avery Johnson, and then I think my player of the year is similar, where this team will need their quarterback to be on every single game. And my pick is Josh Hoover of TCU. Same colors. I think Hoover, maybe not the best quarterback in the Big 12, but he certainly has an argument. I think for sure he's going to have the best stats this year. And if TCU is who I expect them to be, a really prolific offense and a below-average defense, I think Hoover is going to put up vintage Big 12, mid-2010 numbers, and that'll win him the Big 12 Player of the Year. I like Hoover as the bridge, as they replace a lot of skill positions. I think he will lead TCU to one of the 2 or 3 best offenses in the league, easily have the best numbers in the conference, and take home his first Big 12 Player of the Year.
I think you know how high I've been on Josh Hoover for a long time. Like I've said before, like he is a sneaky good pick for Big 12 Player of the Year, and hey, you went out and picked him. I can respect that. I think he probably has, when it comes to arm talent, I think he's probably got the best arm talent in the conference right now. He's a true drop-back gunslinger. He will throw the football all over the yard. He is going to put up ridiculous numbers. Well, he threw up, I forgot how many passing yards he had last season. I think he was second only behind Shedeur Sanders. And I think his season last year was overshadowed by what Shedeur Sanders did at Colorado. So that is a really good pick. Again, with all these great quarterbacks in the conference, you could put almost anyone up there, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I almost think he got overshadowed, too, because he wasn't really a household name coming into the season. They also got off to a slow start. Yep. They had that loss against UCF. They had the embarrassing loss to SMU. They weren't really on anybody's radars, and them, very similar to Baylor, came on at the end of the year, and Hoover was a big reason for that. I expect a fast start from him and TCU this year, and if they finish where I expect them to in the conference, top 6-7 range, I think that'll be enough for Hoover to take home his first Big 12 Player of the Year. For Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going back to Utah, and I am taking Lander Barton, their star linebacker. I mean, if I'm picking Utah to go to the Big 12 championship because of their defense, it'll be because of this guy in the middle of their defense who is tying everything together, playing quarterback on that side of the ball, and leading Utah to the top unit in the conference. And that sometimes picking the defensive player of the year can be as simple as that. Is he the best defensive player in the conference? Probably not. I think that most likely goes to Dante Corleone, or pick your 5-star transfer up front in Lubbock. But I'm picking Barton to be a massive part of Utah's run to Arlington.
No, that's a good pick. That's a really good pick. I don't mind that at all. I think there's a bunch of great linebackers in this conference that you can make a case for. You spoke about Texas Tech, and that's where I'm going to go with my pick here. However, I'm going to go one of their transfer portal guys, but not up front. I'm going to go with Texas Tech linebacker David Bailey. This may raise some eyebrows, but hear me out for a second. He was a top player in the portal this offseason. Texas Tech got him from Stanford, where he led the team in sacks, tackles for loss, forced fumbles over his 3 years there in Palo Alto. This was a guy who was supposed to visit Texas after his trip to Lubbock, and Texas Tech didn't even let that happen because they had to have this guy. They said, there's no way we're letting this guy go. We're not going to let him step foot in Austin, and they locked him up right away. 81 quarterback pressures in 3 seasons. I mean, 22.5 tackles for loss, plenty of sacks. Like, when he's healthy, he's fantastic coming off the edge. And with the additions that Texas Tech made up front, with a guy like Lee Hunter who is going to just eat a bunch of blocks up front, I think David's going to have a lot of those one-on-one opportunities on the edge. I think he's a guy that's probably going to lead the Big 12 in sacks. I wouldn't be surprised if he posted a 10-plus sack season and becomes an early-round draft pick next year.
Wow. I like the pick. Who are you going for Coach of the Year?
Probably the same as you, if I had to guess, with where our polls are, but I didn't throw him up there.
No.
Chris Kleiman. I'm going Chris Kleiman from Kansas State. I know Kenny Dillingham is going to be the early favorite to win this award. That's fine. He definitely deserves the spotlight after last season. But I think both of us can say don't sleep on the Wildcats and Chris Kleiman. He won a Big 12 title, 3 years ago? His teams are always in the hunt. You look at his track record there, 3 straight seasons where his team has won at least 9 games. Probably going to make it 4 in a row. Like, I'm high on the Wildcats this year. And if you look at their schedule, I think it is very favorable when you look around the Big 12. Obviously, they play Iowa State off the bat, which is going to be tough. But after that, I think their schedule sets up really well. They get TCU and Texas Tech at home. Their toughest game to me on their schedule is going to be in Waco when they have to take on Baylor. But I like their chances to make a very deep run. I think they're going to be in Arlington. So I think Chris Kleiman is going to be the coach of the year in the Big 12.
I actually didn't go Kleiman. I went with Kyle Whittingham.
Oh, God.
Taking little old Utah from 16th to 2nd. Again, this is an award voted before the Big 12 championship game. So I'm taking Whittingham. I think Kleiman is expected to be back. Granted, I think Utah is expected to be towards the top of the conference as well. Kleiman, to me, and Whittingham are in the same boat where it sort of feels like Big 12 championship or bust. Not that Kleiman is not losing his job if they don't win or make the Big 12 championship. I think it would start to become a bit of a discussion on why has K-State disappointed back-to-back-to-back years in the conference. And I think the same goes for Whittingham. If this is year 2 of struggles in the Big 12, coming off of back-to-back years of struggles in the Pac-12 after winning the Rose Bowl, there might be discussions on, is it time for Whittingham to hand it off to the next guy? They've already got their future head coach in waiting. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think Whittingham is going to prove his worth as one of the best coaches in college football and take Utah back to where they probably should be as a program.
It's fair. You're high on Utah.
Could you imagine if a Utah fan was listening to this show for the first time ever?
They probably, I don't even know. They'd be ecstatic. I mean, they would be thrilled.
Wait, you picked Kleiman as your coach of the year and not Scott Frost?
What the hell would I pick Scott Frost? Why are you?
You had them 15th. They're clear. I think they're the clear worst team in the conference.
I mean, we're splitting hairs, but we're talking about 2 teams that I think are just absolute bottom feeders in the conference. I'm not going to waste much time on them.
Okay, so you picked West Virginia last and K-State to win the league.
Yep.
Or sorry, Arizona State to win the league.
Yes. Sorry.
What do you feel?
I could probably change that pick at some point.
What do you feel more confident in? Arizona State winning it or West Virginia finishing last?
Probably say Arizona State winning it. Like, it wouldn't shock me.
Really? Okay.
It wouldn't shock me if West Virginia finished 13th. I don't know why we're discussing West Virginia at length, because that's a team that is, we both know they're not going to compete for shit.
I will say I am so much more confident in UCF finishing dead last than I am in K-State winning the conference. And I don't know if that tells me that I should reconsider my championship pick or if I'm just that low on Scott Frost and UCF.
It's fair. I mean, both places are just new coaches. Technically they both been there before, but different conferences, new staffs, new players. It's going to be a big adjustment period for both of those programs.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Our Big 12 preseason poll, our superlatives. I don't know why I'm struggling to say that word. Now it's time for Aiden. Do we have Iowa trivia today?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
No, you don't have to pretend that you know how to pronounce a city today. Today's trivia question is, the Kent Corporation had its humble beginnings when the founder, Gage Allison Kent, began producing Kent 34 baby beef, the first feed without a filler. In what Iowa city?
Jake, do you even know this?
No, this one's got me stumped. Kent.
I'm assuming, does it have something to do with the name of the person? The town?
No. Nope.
Okay, wow.
Is it Fort Dodge?
Is it really?
It's not Fort Dodge.
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Jake, do you really not know this?
I don't think so.
Feed with no filler, right? Is it Indianola?
It's Indianola.
What?
Oh! There
The
we
Duke
go.
gets it, Jake doesn't.
Wow. I figured. I was like, it's something so obvious that it's probably right there in front of us, and we're just.
I had no idea
everything
Kent
else.
was a.
There you go.
Trying to think where the Kent factory even is in Indianola, or if it's still there.
Beats me.
Wow, that you can edit that. Part
Yeah, I
out.
couldn't tell you what year.
I thought you knew your hometown like in the back of your head, and you don't even know that the feed's made there.
So the original mill was ruined by a fire in 1936 and moved to Muscatine.
You don't
So-
remember that fire
well.
in '36?
Yeah,
So it was a
you
little
forget.
bit before my time. I feel slightly better about myself now.
You don't remember that great fire in '36?
Well, so what I was going to do is look up the address and realize, wow, I've driven past that building 1,000
Yeah,
times in my
right.
life and I had no idea, but it sounds like
History.
Hassel was the one driving past it every day. So, okay.
History, man.
I feel like less of a
History.
moron now, but still a bit of a moron.
Aiden, is there anything from our list or our players that really jumped off to you?
Whittingham Coach of the Year was.
It's a stretch.
It's tough though because sometimes the Coach of the Year does go to a team that's not even competing for a Big 12 title. Like Matt Campbell won it when I mean,
Yeah.
not that Iowa State was like totally down and out of the race, but
And 17
even-
when
yeah.
they went
Like sometimes you
7-5.
get that Coach of the Year where you just had a bad team the year before. They're good-ish the next year, and coaches gain respect, and yeah, all that jazz.
Maybe I should have gone
Other
Rich
than
Rod.
that, yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Your polls were definitely interesting. I couldn't believe Derek had UCF as high as he did.
Oh my God! I picked him second to last. How is that shocking? You act like I'm
You're
about.
just-
You guys act like I'm going to go outside after I'm done recording the show and build a statue of Scott Frost or put a
You're just-
shrine of him.
Why would
just
you build
high
one when
on-
you already have one?
Yeah.
You're just high on Frosty the Coach Man.
But two coaches that are coming back to their schools that both put them last. I mean, they're both in the bottom two. I don't know how much lower you can get.
So they've got Frost as the head coach, Grinch as the DC. Is Mark Mangino their offensive coordinator, rounding out with the
I mean, Alex
the Hall of
Grinch-
Fame?
Alex Grinch was a terrible hire. I think everybody knows that. UCF fans know that. It's not going to work out well for them.
I was also shocked that Derek, you had Baylor ahead of Iowa State. I think you guys just had them swapped, 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm low on Baylor personally, but
I mean, I feel like
I do like
everybody-
Sawyer Robertson though.
Everybody here at Iowa, everywhere in their polls were very low on Baylor. Chris Williams didn't even have him in the top 10. If I
No,
remember.
yeah, that's crazy.
That to me is that's insanity.
Dave Aranda.
I wouldn't go that far.
Dave
I mean-
Aranda intimidated me at the Big 12 media days when I sat in him with the elevator, or sat in the elevator with him. I
mean, you
think
could-
he saw where Williams picked him and associated me with Williams.
I mean, you could shit on Waco.
Yeah, you never
all
want to be
want.
associated with Chris Williams. That's tough.
You could shit on Waco all you want, but I don't think you can sit there and not put Baylor in your top 10. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Well, I can tell you if they're not in like the top 8, see you, Dave. He
That's
will
fair,
be.
too.
He'll go and be the defensive coordinator for Scott Frost next year at that rate. Well,
Not bad.
now that we got Aiden on here, I'm guessing we should just flip the coin now and start our Big 12 quarterbacks draft presented by Whiskey River.
Let's do it.
We'll flip the coin and then roll the
Sally
ad.
Ride. Once again. Jake, call it in the air.
Tails.
He dropped it. He dropped
It's heads. It landed on my hand.
I'm going to let you have the first pick, Jake, on this one.
Ooh. Alrighty. should we thank our friends at Whiskey River? I actually went there again the other night. I forgot to snap a picture, though.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I got the
burger?
I got a burger. It wasn't
A burger.
It wasn't the same burger I got the last time. This one had an egg on it, some ham. It was a breakfast-ish burger. I don't think it was called a breakfast burger, though. It was really good. I think I forgot to snap a tweet because I was so mad about the Cubs losing Sunday Night Baseball to the Cardinals. So I think I just totally forgot. But again, really good service, really good burgers at Whiskey River.
You had a good time.
I had a great time.
There you go.
At Whiskey River. Let's roll the ad, Aiden.
Looking for a good time? Thought so. Whiskey River is just the place. We've got the booze, the food, the vibe, and the amazing rooftop patio. The only thing missing is you. Whiskey River.
Our final Bigger Than 12 draft of the summer is brought to you by Whiskey River. We're always having a good time at Whiskey River.
Yep.
All right. First pick goes to me. Man, this is tough. Man, this is so tough. This is probably going to be bold. I'm going Josh Hoover. I think most people would have Sam Levitt, but I just picked him as my Big 12 Player of the Year. Numbers-wise, I think he's going to have the best year. Might not be as dynamic with his legs as Levitt, but I'm taking more of a known commodity in Hoover. I know what Levitt did the last half of last season. I know what he's expected to do, but I'm barely taking Hoover, just by an edge over Levitt.
That's a good pick. It makes me think maybe I should have picked first now, because that's a really good pick. I'm going to go, I got to go Avery Johnson. That was my Big 12 Player of the Year, much like you. I got to pick my Big 12 Player of the Year, so I'm going to go Avery Johnson with my pick. And then I'm going to go Sam Levitt. I have to take Sam Levitt there. Outstanding freshman season last year. That is a guy who, we just saw grow every single week. He got better and better as the games went on. Made some really big plays in the Big 12 championship game. Made some big plays in the playoff game against Texas. So really looking forward to seeing what he can do this season without your boy Cam Scatabo. So I think a big years in store for Sam Levitt.
Wow. So I made my list, I think on Friday, and I just kept tweaking it. And I rotated the top spot between three guys. And none of them were Avery Johnson. I rotated between Josh Hoover, Sam Levitt, and the clutchest quarterback in the conference, Rocco Becht. I'm getting him at 4. I thought there was no way he was going to fall back to me here at 4. Rocco, I think, has as much NFL talent as the other guys on the list. Consistency can get a lot better from year 2 to year 3, but Rocco has proven that there is definitely no quarterback in the conference that is as clutch as him, and I would even argue there's no quarterback in the country that has proven to execute when it matters most as Rocco Becht. And if there's a team that is down 3, needs a touchdown, I have full faith in Rocco Becht. 2 minutes left to go and get me that touchdown. I think he is clearly a top 3 quarterback in the league for me, and I could make the argument for 1 or 2 pretty easy. And that makes my 5th pick pretty easy as well. I'm going Sawyer Robertson of Baylor. Again, really similar to Hoover, probably not known as well by national people, but Robertson quietly put together an incredible 2024 season. He's, along with their running back Bryson Washington, he's the primary reason that Baylor turned their season around last year the way they did. I expect a big year out of Robertson, and he is a pretty easy choice for me in this spot.
I'll say you got 3 of my top 5. So with Beck, Robertson, Hoover, that might be enough to win this poll. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was good. I had to take Avery Johnson though.
I think there's a pretty steep drop off from 5 to 6. Whoever you have at 6, in my eyes.
I think I might be getting the best value here at number 6. I'm going Jalen Daniels, Kansas. Mm-hmm. I think when you were talking about guys who are very underrated, I mean, a year or two ago, this guy was the preseason favorite to win the Big 12 Player of the Year award. Nobody is talking about Jalen Daniels, and when he's healthy, and we've talked about Levitt, Hoover, Robinson, Johnson, Becht, Jalen Daniels belongs in that conversation when he's healthy and when he's playing well. I mean, you can make a case for him in the top 3 or 4. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So I'm going to take Jalen Daniels with my next pick. And then I'm going to probably go Behren Morton. I could have went with another quarterback, but I think when you look at Behrens' numbers from last season, had a career year in Lubbock last year. Nobody talked about it because we talked about all these other quarterbacks we just mentioned. But I think Behren Morton quietly could end up being a top 5 quarterback in this conference.
Wow. I had Morton down at 9th, which leaves me 2 guys in my top 8 that I still have on the board. With my next pick, I'll go with Devin Dampier of Utah, the New Mexico transfer, dual threat quarterback, very similar in my eyes to Daniels. Probably not as good as a thrower, but he's certainly up there as a running quarterback. Again, I said it earlier when we were talking Utah. I don't think he is a top 5 quarterback in this league, but I put him at the top of that next tier between Daniels, Dampier, and my next guy, which is Brendan Sorsby, who I think you could make the argument is the most underrated quarterback in the conference. Didn't close the year completely strong last season, but he's a sneaky dual threat guy. He ran for over 100 yards in Ames last year. I just think he's a really solid quarterback, and without him, Cincinnati might have gone 4-8 or 3-9 last year. I do like Brendan Sorsby.
That's a good one. I'm going to take Noah Fafita. I think a lot of people are just kind of done with him after last season. That's fair, but I will say the team that he had around him outside of McMillan was ass. It was terrible. They didn't have shit blocking for him. They didn't have a run game. They didn't have anything. Noah Fafita, I think, is like Jalen Daniels, I think is a very sneaky pick in this draft, so I'm going to go with him. Next, this is probably more of a projection pick than anything, but I really love the upside of Connor Wegman at Houston. I think that he's a guy that could end up being a game changer, maybe the most impactful transfer at the quarterback position for any Big 12 school on this list, even more than your boy Devin Dampier for Utah. So I'm going to go Wegman with my next pick.
Good pick. That's who I was going to go. And that leaves me, we forgot to mention before this draft that this doesn't necessarily have to be a starting quarterback, and I have no idea who's going to start in Boulder. So with my next 2 picks, I'm just going to pick Caden Salter, the expected starter in Boulder, who is a transfer from Liberty, and I'm also going to pick Juju Lewis, the 5-star freshman coming in. So I'm really hedging my bets and taking both Colorado quarterbacks back-to-back. I think Lewis probably ends up being the guy by the end of the year, but Salter was also a pretty highly touted transfer coming from Liberty, so I'm really not taking a risk here by taking both guys.
Well, one of them's not going to play.
Well, I think one of them not playing is still going to be better than whatever is left at the bottom of the barrel.
I'm going to take Nico Marchiel from West Virginia. I know I'm not high on West Virginia. I think he does have some upside with him. I think we saw flashes from him last season, although they were just so bad. So that's probably by default there. Next, another projection pick for me. I think I'm going to go Zane Flores, Oklahoma State.
Wow.
I think not thrown a college pass yet. Neither has his Haas Henry. I don't think has thrown a college pass either. So this, again, more of a projection thing. Mike Gundy knows how to work with quarterbacks. I think he'll have a decent year. I don't think he'll just be awful.
So this is a total risk. Grant, I guess maybe not. There's not really risks at this point of the draft. But I'm going to take a guy who has played. It's been a while. McKay Hillstead, the expected starter at BYU, who is stepping in place of Jake Retzloff, who is now at Tulane. Hillstead played 2 years ago at Utah State. To say he didn't light the world on fire would be an understatement, but I feel a little bit better about taking him. And then my next pick, I'll just go with the UCF quarterback Taven Jackson, who was the Indiana backup, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yep.
I'll take that a little bit over House Hengy at Oklahoma State or whoever else is left on the board.
You're taking two quarterbacks that can't even throw the football with Dampier and Jackson here.
Just let them switch places and see what happens.
I think you have a very strong top three. I think that could maybe win you the poll. However, I really like my values there towards the end with Daniels and Fafita and Wegman.
See,
is that going to be enough to win? Probably not.
I really wanted Wegman at the spot where I took both Colorado QBs. I'm so on Noah Fafita. We'll see how much of his success 2 years ago was Tet McMillan and how much of last year's troubles was him or if it was the offensive line. I think maybe a mix of both. But yeah, good draft overall. I do think I crushed my top three.
If Fafita was playing for Utah this season, I would feel so much better about the Utes. I'll say
really?
That.
Okay.
I would feel a lot better about the Utes.
See, I like Fafita, but I don't know if he fits into that. He's such a down the field thrower. I don't think that's really what Utah needs. I think they're going to shorten games.
They're going to spread them out.
I think Utah is going to win games 20-16, and they're going to do it because Dampier is able to pick up a tough 3rd and 8 with his legs. I think that's what the season comes down to. But
that's fair.
I think we've both got a pretty good gauge on what we expect from this season. I'm so excited. I was looking at Iowa State's bye weeks the other day just to see, all right, what games do I really get a lock into that day? Because the way that this will work this season, we're most likely looking at Sunday shows. So my Sunday mornings will be filled with going to rewatch the Big 12 games that I missed from the day before. So whenever Iowa State doesn't play and I get to sit at home, and I think one of the days is Texas Tech Utah. I think that game is September 20th. Like that, I cannot wait. I'm so excited for football. We're so close.
We're getting closer. One more show and then Ireland.
One more show and then Guinness time.
I'm not big on Guinness.
See, I'm not either, but
I don't do Guinness.
I've heard that'll change. I know it's no Steeple Ridge, though.
It is not. No. I'd much rather have a Steeple Ridge than a big pint of Guinness.
Well, I guess I'll see you from the Philadelphia airport.
Oof. I'm not jealous of you. Going to Ireland would be awesome.
It'll make it worth it if I can get an authentic Philly cheesesteak. But if all they have is, I don't know, some chain place, I'll be pretty upset. But if some of these airports these days, they'll have some fancy restaurants. You just got to spend an arm and a leg to get good food.
Yeah, because $25 for a beer.
If you weren't making me record while I was in the airport, I could probably just leave and go get a cheesesteak downtown and make it back for my flight after my 6-hour layover.
Sorry.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning into this Bigger Than 12 Big 12 season preview. We will be back next week, same time, and we're going to preview the Farmageddon and KU's season opener against Fresno State. Like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and support all the great content that we have here on Iowa Everywhere.